I'm going, do you know that if you preach a gospel other than the gospel that the Apostle Paul taught and received from the risen Christ, Galatians 1 says you are twice cursed. I said, now this is serious. And that's what I often tell them. You know, we may be having this exchange and going back and forth, and it may seem like linguistic, gymnastics. I go, no, this is serious. You are preaching a message which the Bible says is cursed. I said, you ought to be concerned. I'm concerned enough to show this to you right now. Because I still have Adventists today saying, oh, no, we preach the gospel message of Paul. No, you don't. No, you don't. I take them to them. I go, what's the mission of the remnant? Page 196 to 201 in the 28 Beliefs book. Everlasting gospel. And where am I going to find the definition of that? I'm going to find it in the Bible. And I talk a lot about their Jesus. I say, who is your Jesus? By the way, most of the Christian church doesn't even recognize this fact, that there are other Jesuses out there. 2 Corinthians chapter 11. The Apostle Paul is with the Corinthian church, fretting over them, going, I'm afraid if someone comes and preaches a Jesus other than the one that you've been taught, you're going to just put up with it. And I say, oh yeah, there's all kinds of Jesuses out there. I can talk about who the Jesus of the Jehovah's Witness, right? The Mormons, the Christians, and on and on and on. And I say, and who's your Jesus, Seventh-day Adventist? I mean, if I almost say, if I was to pick him up and turn him over, it would say made in 1844. Right? Because he was made in 1844. I said, you have a different Jesus. You got a Jesus dressed as a Levitical priest in the temple right now, doing the investigative judgment with sins of people, sins in heaven, and forgiving sins in a second phase of atonement. I say, how is Jesus a Levitical priest? And of course, right, he's of the tribe of Judah. He's not Levi. But I find all the pictures of Christ, and you've all seen them, you formers, you already know. They got Jesus dressed up with the fancy Levitical garb on. And I say, you got a different Christ. This is serious. These are the two issues I bang on all the time. I want the Adventists to know you got a different Jesus and you got a different gospel. And if you have those things and those two things are different, you're in trouble. Matthew chapter 7. Christ said what? Not everybody who says to me, Lord, Lord,